Hi and welcome to my markets recap for the week. Happy April Fool's Day, everyone. I'm back in the seat again. I haven't taken a few weeks off from the weekly update. So where are we at? Little system update, basically. So far we're off to a great start for the year. January was fantastic. The market came down, we grabbed the bottom, beautiful move up. And then, February was rough waters with the invasion of Ukraine, very rough waters indeed. However, on the whole, even though that was a tough trading month, March was great. We got a really fantastic swing trade in March, grabbed most of the move higher here. So, it's been a wild ride so far in the markets this year, but we are well ahead of the market, which is really all you can ask for. And we're actually in a profitable position for the year, which is terrific, obviously. So hopefully things will calm a little bit and we'll see some really nice trades coming up soon. We're expecting good things next week, and hopefully some kind of ceasefire will happen very soon out of Ukraine, but more on that in a second. So that was the system update. What happened in the news this week? Well, this morning the non-farm payrolls report came out. That's the monthly jobs report for March, and it posted 431,000 jobs, which is quite a big number, but it was well below the 490,000 estimate, and it was revised. It was very different to the revised number in February, which was 750,000, so a much bigger push up than even was reported in February. So a little disappointing for the market. Unemployment rate did decline to 3.6%, but was again below expectations. So that was the jobs report. The really big economic news this week in terms of the market was the Biden administration ordering the largest ever release of US crude from the stockpile in the US. They have these underground bunkers where they keep like 700 million barrels of oil, and they're now authorized to release 1 million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve for the next 6 months. That's 180 million barrels will be taken out of there, so one per day for the next 180 days. Now keep in mind the US consumes about 20 million barrels a day, so adding 1 million barrels to a daily supply could lower prices somewhat, and that's obviously what the Democrats are hoping for, because it is an election year, midterm elections coming up, so they're pushing for that to try and ease tensions at the pump. But many analysts are very sceptical to see what difference this will really make, because this is a global phenomenon. It's not just about the US. And speaking of energy, Germany has started to prep for the possibility of Russia shutting off its natural gas supply, which would be really bad for the Germans, who rely very heavily on that Russian natural gas. The Russians are demanding unfriendly nations to pay for gas in rubles, which the West has rejected. And apparently the ruble has actually bounced back to where it was before the war began in February 24th, so it's actually come back quite a bit from its cratering, and that's even with all the Western sanctions that have come with it. However, the threat is still there to cut things off, and the valves remain open for now, but that is an ongoing situation. We'll see how that goes in the next week or so. Ukraine and Russia met again today, virtually this time, for peace talks, following a round of face-to-face negotiations in Turkey. Russia said it would dramatically reduce its military activities in the region around Kiev this week. NATO alliance countries are very sceptical of this, obviously, and any progress on the ceasefire is very bullish for investors, and obviously very important. More importantly, I should say, a relief to the people of Ukraine. So we're certainly hoping for the best around here, and I'm sure you are too, as a swift end to this horrible, horrific conflict. That's obviously still ongoing. A side effect to this conflict, it was reported this week that Cathay Pacific is rerouting a New York City to Hong Kong flight. It's a long-haul flight, and they're trying to avoid Russian airspace, because normally they go over Russian airspace. Now it's now become the world's longest commercial flight by distance. Now its ETA is only 17 hours. I think there's actually longer trips to Australia and places like that, but certainly it must be a pretty fast plane, because it's saying it's the longest by distance. It's a 17-hour flight, and it's just enough time to probably watch the new Batman movie, right, which goes on forever. But you might want to upgrade for a little extra legroom on that one, because that's a long haul on that plane, as they avoid that particular airspace. So Lastly, just to finish with an interesting fact, before 2012 and long before the trend of people eating healthy and vegan becoming a mainstream and vegetarian obviously as well, Pizza Hut was actually the largest buyers of kale in the US. And it was used as a garnish, and it still is used as a garnish in salad bars. So they used to be the biggest consumers of kale in the US, which is really odd. I've seen a lot more kale in the last number of years in grocery stores and things like that. I'm sure you have too. So that is no longer the case. But up until 2012, they were the biggest users of it. So that's it for me. That is the weekly update. I will be back next week with another round. And it is Friday, time to round tools. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.